Alrighty, guys. So we're going to go over a couple of draft classes, right? That's what we're going to do. Going to go over a couple of draft classes, and we're going to go. I'm between two teams, but I'm going to go with the New York Giants draft class. And a lot of people love this draft class, and I'd say that I really like this draft class. All right, in terms of if I really like it, do I like it? Is it overrated? I really like this class. So the Giants, okay, they get Abdul Carter at 3, which is exactly what I wanted the Giants to do. I maybe wanted Carter even at 2 over Travis Hunter. So now the Giants, too, which I agree with, they're keeping Thibodeau on their roster, which I like. Maybe you can sign him, especially if they end up winning, maybe getting into the playoffs or doing something pretty fancy. This defensive line now is really exciting because I'm going to read you guys off the list, but they have Roy Robertson Harris. They have Golston that they got from the Dallas Cowboys. That is, a very versatile guy who can play inside and outside. All right. This defensive line that the Giants have accrued is really, really good, and that's how I like the team being built. When they won Super Bowls, it was Osi, it was Justin Tuck, it was Matthias, it was Osi Tuck, Michael Strahan. All right, those were the bell cows of the Giants defense. The Giants played 4-3 under Spags, and those guys got after Tom Brady. They got after Brett Favre. They got after Aaron Rodgers. From 7-11, that's the style in which they won. And I love that style. It's a style that stays true the test of time, is stopping the run and getting after the quarterback. And especially in a quarterback-centric NFL with mobile quarterbacks and more on a quarterback's plate, getting those defensive ends and defensive tackles, that's the way I want to build a football team, because that's like the most surefire way to compete late in the season and to win football games. Like the Eagles were able to win the Super Bowl against Mahomes by rushing forward. The Bucs were able to do that against Mahomes as well. Buffalo did a great job in this draft. Like the defensive line's probably my favorite position to build a football team on. I think that position is just about second to quarterback in terms of how good that position has to be. So the Giants, okay, they draft Abdul Carter. So again, he's going to be starting already. It's going to be fun already. Brian Burns. I guess they got Jeremiah Ledbetter also, but Chauncey Golston is the guy that I think is going to be he's going to start over Roy Robertson Harris in this list. But you got Burns, and you got and you also have Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, really good Dexter Lawrence, of course, Big Dex, and then Darius Alexander from Toledo. Big guy, 320 pounds, pretty agile. They get him in the 3rd round, really good value. So those are the home run picks in this draft. They get Cam Scatterbo in the 4th, which I really, really like. They get a guy, Corey Black, out of Iowa, and then Fedoni. Big fan of Thomas Fedoni, especially where they got him in the 7th. You take a flyer on him, you're never going to see a kid work harder than Thomas. He's dealt with so much adversity, tearing his ACL, just devastating knee injuries, okay, and that's why he fell in this draft. But a guy who's also super athletic, and he played his full season last year. There's a rumor that these injuries could possibly be dealt with, and these can possibly fully recover so that he can play a pretty long amount of football. So I don't know if he's going to help you on specials, but with Theo Johnson, I want to see Thomas compete to make the team. And he's a guy who vertical leaped out of the world at the combine. And, he was a guy that LSU was recruiting, and he was one of the most highest rated recruits in that Omaha, Iowa area. going back to when he was at Council Bluffs. So I said this guy, if he didn't get injured, he would have been probably a second-round pick, and he would have been one of the great, great tight ends to play at Nebraska. So I loved that pick. And then Cam Skattebo. I mean, Cam is one of my favorite college players of all time. How will he be in the NFL? He's a little bit smaller, right? Is he going to be that fast? But, and he's going up against big guys, but I think that he's going to be a tone-setting, back. He has good contact balance, and we just got to see him play against, first-teamers, which is going to happen during the season. So get Skattebo, Tyrone Tracy. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch. The defense is going to have to carry this football team. The Giants still at tight end, big question mark with Theo Johnson and also Fedoni. They're very young at that spot. The offensive line, that's one area of weakness for sure. Looking at this offensive line, the Giants are relying on, I guess, Illuminor to be a tackle. They're also relying on, Andrew Thomas has to stay healthy. John Michael Schmidt, John Runyon's a guard. Not even sure about their other guard. I guess it might be Evan Neal. That's bad. It's just the offensive line's a C-, could even be a D, going to possibly derail the season. Decent quarterback, though. They get Jaxson Dart. Again, I wasn't high on Dart in this process, but they only gave up a third to get Dart. Brian Daboll loves Jaxson Dart as a quarterback. Am I coming around a little bit to Jaxson Dart? Like, it's probably the best scheme fit for him. It's the best situation with Russell Wilson. It's the best situation to succeed. All right, but I honestly had Gabriel ahead of Dart. I think, Shador ahead of Jaxson Dart. I even had Quinn Ewers ahead of Jaxson Dart. But Jaxson, he has a little bit of arm strength. Can he get out of the pocket? All right, and he's going to start. And listen, if it doesn't work, it's a late first-round pick at a quarterback. The rest of the draft is great. The defense is going to be much better. Paulson Adebo, Javon Holland, they add in free agency. They now add Abdul Carter, Golston, Roy Robertson Harris, and Darius Alexander to the front. You have Enrique and McFadden. You still have Thibodeau. This defense can be a top 5 defense, a top 7 defense. Now, the problem is that the offense with Russell, that's why I think that they should go Russell Wilson at quarterback, because Russell's going to turn it over less. You're going to need a good punter. You're going to need good special teams. This offensive line's not good enough to just play run the football, keep away. Their offense is going to set their defense up for real failure. And then you're kind of relying on still Shane Bowen year 2. This isn't the perfect team. If Jaxson Dart is a suitable quarterback, the Giants can maybe get to 9 wins this year. And if Jaxson is suitable at all, if he's a top 20 quarterback, if he's Desmond Ridder but a lot better and can actually start and play for you, if he's like a better Taylor Heineke as a quarterback, then the Giants can actually be really good. Because this defense can be together for about 3 years, for about 3 or 4 years. The Giants then next year, if they don't need to draft a quarterback, they can draft an offensive tackle. The Giants need a tackle. They need a guard. They need to go full on the offensive line in future years. That's what the New York Giants, all right, need to do in this process. As the light goes off here on Slaughterhouse Sports, how frustrating is that that the light goes off? Anyway, guys, was this fun or was this fun? This season is going to be fun for the New York Giants. It's going to be a lot more fun. You're going to take a 3-win team and make it at least an 8-win team, a 9-win team. Knock on wood, they stay healthy. Hopefully Abdul pops as a rookie. Darius Alexander, Dexter Lawrence. This team is going to be really fun to watch get after quarterback, and this defense can turn you over and can swing games. And if you get Russell playing okay football, if the offensive line and Andrew Thomas can stay healthy, this team could compete for a wild card. This team could get to 9 wins. This team could get to 8 wins. If you're 8-9, you're 9-8, 7-10 would still be a little bit disappointing. Brian Daboll needs to be on the cusp of making a wild card this year. That's the expectation. It's not that deep. It's not to beat Dallas. It's not to beat Washington. It's not to beat Philadelphia and win a division championship. It's to get to 8-9. All right, 7-10 at worst. Possibly could even be 9 wins, but be in a lot of games, fight and compete, get the defense rolling, get to about 6 or 7 wins. It's a very hard schedule. Get between 6 and 8 wins, get the defense up to speed, get Shane Bowen's system down, all right? Get Cam into the fold. This team, it's possible that they could even be a fringe, they could even be what Mike Tomlin's Steelers were and be a one-and-done wild card team. And for Giants fans, for me as a Giants fan, that would be ecstatic because then it shows that you're building, and then in the next 3 years, you could possibly make a run deep into the NFC playoffs with this foundation that Joe Schoen is creating. And you could be building a sustainable defense that could possibly be competing deep in the NFC playoffs in the next maybe probably the next 2 years. In 2 years, this team could maybe make an NFC championship if all these picks hit. They can be a team that really gives the fans like a product that is fun. All right, that's what I'll say.